The reward pathway in the brain is a complex network of millions of nerve cells. Signals travel along the reward pathway from one region of the brain to another. Nerve cells communicate with each other at a junction called the synapse. Here, signals move from one neuron to another. The small space between the two cells, called the synaptic cleft, is where the action takes place. The cell that will send the message is loaded with sacs, called vesicles, that are filled with neurotransmitter molecules. There are many types of neurotransmitters. The type used along the reward pathway is dopamine. The cell that will receive the message is coated with dopamine receptors. An electrical impulse triggers vesicles in the sending cell to dump their contents into the synaptic cleft. The dopamine molecules attach to the receptors on the receiving cell. Dopamine and its receptor are specifically shaped to fit like a lock and key. When dopamine is docked, the receptor triggers the production of a second messenger molecule. Dopamine is released from the receptor and it goes back into the sending cell through reuptake transporters. Here, it will either be packaged for reuse or broken down. The second messenger can interact with other molecules to produce effects within the cell. It can also trigger an electrical impulse which travels down the axon. Our receiving cell is now a sending cell, and the process repeats. The impulse reaches a synapse at the axon terminal, stimulating neurotransmitter vesicles to dump their contents. So, when does an impulse stop? First, if the signal is weak and too few neurotransmitters bind to receptors, the receiving neuron won't fire an impulse. Second, certain types of neurotransmitters are inhibitory, like the ones shown here. Inhibitory neurotransmitters stop nerve impulses. The neurons presented here are just a small part of a vast system. In elaborate networks, neurons in the brain work together to control sophisticated functions such as learning, mood, and memory. In these networks, one neuron may connect with up to 1,000 others.